Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger pull out of ECOWAS. ECOWAS, saddened by decision, says door still open for more discussions. Ahead of the by-elections in Nigeria scheduled for Saturday, INEC promises early arrival of materials. Also on political update today, the race to the government houses in Edo and Ondo states getting more entrants. Who are the top names in the bag? We have a situation report. My name is Fisayo Ogunfuyi, and this is Political Update. Welcome. Over the weekend, the military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger on Sunday announced their immediate withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, saying it had become a threat to member states. This is coming as the ECOWAS Commission says it's yet to receive any formal notification from the three member states about their intention to withdraw from the community.
Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali were among the founding members of the regional bloc of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The regional bloc was established on 28th of May 1975 in Lagos, Nigeria. The three countries, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, were suspended from the regional bloc as a result of military takeover of power through coups. The elected civilian president was forcefully removed from office in August 2020 in Mali. In August 2022, military in Burkina Faso ousted elected government.
Je jure devant le peuple burkinabé.
And Niger's president, Mohamed Bazoum, was deposed in July 2023, and the junta said it will take 3 years to return to civilian rule.
Ce jour, 26 juillet 2023.
ECOWAS, not happy with the situation, imposed economic sanction on the three countries and suspended them from the bloc.
The leaders have decided to ensure that the transition stays on course in all three countries. There is no exception to the return to democracy as agreed in the transition time frame.
The Parliament of Mali is a part of the government of Mali that is an aberration. They are not elected members of the parliament, and that is why ECOWAS parliament don't even accept them to meet in the ECOWAS parliament. Because for you to be a member of the ECOWAS parliament, you must be elected by your people.
Not happy with the sanctions, in December 2023, the three countries met and decided to withdraw from an international force known as G5 that was set up to fight extremists in the Sahel region, forming their own so-called Alliance of Sahel States, AES. Following the failed negotiation over Niger and the ECOWAS, the three countries announced their withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States.
Du Burkina Faso, de la République du Mali, et de la République du Niger.
After 49 years, the violent people of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger observed that the ECOWAS has drifted from the ideals of its founding fathers and the spirit of Pan-Africanism.
But ECOWAS has, however, reacted to the move by the three member countries, saying it is not aware of the development and it has not been informed officially. The bloc, in a statement, said the three countries were important members of the community, and the bloc remains committed to finding a negotiated solution to the political impasse. Analysts are of the view that if the withdrawal of the three countries stand and accepted by ECOWAS, issues relating to free trade and movement of goods and services will be affected across the region.
And in the latest development from this push and shove concerning those three countries, the federal government of Nigeria says it is saddened by the decision of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso to leave the ECOWAS regional bloc. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Francisca Omayuli, says Nigeria has worked sincerely in good faith to reach out to all member states of the ECOWAS family to resolve difficulties being faced by the three nations, and that doors are open for more discussions. The Foreign Affairs spokesperson says the military leaders in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are trying to deny their people the sovereign right to make fundamental choices over their freedom of trade, movement and right to choose their own leaders. Nigeria therefore stands with ECOWAS to emphasize due process and shared commitment to protect and strengthen the rights and welfare of citizens of the member states. We'll have a studio discussion on the impasse in ECOWAS and the withdrawal of those 3 states once we get our guests into the studio, and he's Paul Ejime, an international affairs analyst. Once he joins us, we'll be talking about the remote and all the ramifications of these withdrawals and what it portends for the regional bloc. But coming home now, the rerun and by-elections scheduled for this Saturday will experience no delay as INEC and the Nigerian Air Force finalize arrangement on delivery of election materials. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, gave the assurance when the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, visited him recently.
39 rerun and 9 by-elections coming up February 3rd, 2024. And the partnership between the ballot and the aircraft crucial for the success of these elections. INEC has control over the ballot, but limited in the area of aircraft to deliver election materials. So, meeting the man in charge of the skies in the nation's military force necessary.
Given the size and distance of some constituencies, we seek the support of the Nigerian Air Force to expeditiously deliver materials to 3 locations in the northeast, southeast, and the southwest geopolitical zones of the country.
Nigerian Air Force has been INEC's dependable partner in both areas, in the provision of security as well as rapid airlift of election materials in all parts of the country. I want to assure you that we remain willing, able, and ready to continue supporting INEC.
Pen dotted, warm handshake, spiced with laughter, and this positive atmosphere is expected to translate into early arrival of election materials in the 8,934 polling units in 80 local government areas in 26 states of the Federation.
More entrants are getting into the zone, wanting to become the next occupants of the government houses of Edo and Ondo states. The Deputy Governor of Edo State, the current Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, says the September 21st governorship election in the state will be another challenge to return the state to Edo people. He was speaking during an interaction with the PDP Deputy National Organizing Secretary Pascal Adigwe at the party's national headquarters in Abuja.
Philip Shaibu eyeing the PDP ticket to succeed Governor Godwin Obaseki, and he believes power belongs to the people. This visit to the party secretariat presents him an opportunity to inform the leadership of party that some of them have been harassed, intimidated, but that is a cross one must carry in the political journey.
God will use us to make PDP remain in the door. Let there be peace. Let us maintain peace.
Another PDP governorship aspirant in Edo State, Ambassador Martin Uhumoibi, a retired federal permanent secretary, also visited the party's national headquarters in Abuja, urging a transparent primary election.
If the party wants the best, and they give all of us a level playing field to play, but the choice is theirs to make.
The recent reconciliation meeting between the PDP National Working Committee and Edo State stakeholders promised to work together towards the party's victory.
More on that later, but today the Nigeria's bicameral legislature reconvened plenary with oversight of MDAs for effective implementation of the 2024 budget, topping the list of priorities. Let's take that report.
Mainly is to keep our eyes on the ball. We are going to start that from day one to make sure that nobody delays anything on his table. As a permanent secretary, we are watching you. As a minister, we are watching you. As the Director General of MDA, we are watching you to make sure that we meet the needs of Nigerians.
If it is not implementing it the way Nigerians are expecting. No, it's not going to happen. We are going to sharpen our oversight near this time around.
The agencies that have been provided funds in the budget function in line with those provisions that have now become a law for everyone to follow.
The issue of local government autonomy will be revisited so that the local governments will have the full autonomy to deliver dividends of democracy. State police will also be revisited, especially against the avalanche of the problem of insecurity that we have. Create special seats for women so that they can be part and parcel of the decision-making process.
There are a lot of bills, there are a lot of motions. These are the manifesting year. The bills that we have first reading, this year we are going to have the first and the second reading, and you know the time is good, and it's going to be this year, most of the bills.
There's a new sheriff in town in Kogi State as the state marked a significant milestone as Ahmed Usman Ododo was inaugurated as the 5th democratically elected governor of that state. Solomon Aiden reports that the federal government has also committed to providing the governor with the necessary support for a successful term in office.
Ahmed Usman Ododo do solemnly swear
Usman Ododo taking the office as governor of Kogi State, marking the beginning of another era in the history of the state.
JYD is telling you, I wish you well.
He appreciated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the leadership of the APC in the success of the election that brought him into office. Governor Ododo emphasized the potential of the state, urging for a collective effort in unity to move the state to the next level of development, stressing that he will live up to expectations.
As your governor, I do not take for granted the euphoria that greeted our victory in the last governorship election. I pray for God's guidance in delivering a viable performance that matches the huge expectation of the good people of Kogi State, who voted overwhelmingly for us and our great party, the All Progressive Congress.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who described the day as an account of the stewardship of the former governor, Yahaya Bello, emphasized the commitment of the federal government to support the administration of Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo.
Mr. President remains committed to collaborating to optimize the vast potentials of Kogi State and bring to fruition the aspirations of its illustrious people.
Former Governor Yahaya Bello was conferred with the Grand Conference Silver Service Star Award in recognition of his selfless service to the development of the state. As the new journey of governance in Kogi State begins, more dividends of democracy are expected to be delivered to the people in line with the renewed hope agenda of the federal government.
And still talking about elections and post-election adjudications, the democratic governance in Nigeria since 1999 has not been without daunting challenges, but each time anyone rises, either among or between political actors, the judiciary has been using its constitutional power to resolve such differences. In this report, judiciary correspondent Austin Aibe takes a look at the issues that emanated from the governorship election in Plateau State and the interpretation of the law with a view to further look into perhaps a review, further review of the Electoral Act 2022.
The cliché Nigerian nascent democracy is fast giving way when political analysts are discussing democratic governance in Nigeria. This is because it is almost 2.5 decades that Nigeria has practiced unbroken democracy, the longest in the political history of Nigeria. Though the practice has not been without challenges, as key players have continued to throw up issues that pose constitutional questions. But such questions have always been answered by the courts. This, therefore, justifies the key role of the judiciary played in stabilizing the nation's democracy. Such landmark decisions by the judiciary abound, with events that play out after the death of the APC governorship candidate in Kogi State, Prince Abubakar Audu, in mind. The recent one is the political imbroglio in Plateau State, where all the legislators from the state, both at the state and national assemblies, from PDP lost their seats to opponents following judicial decisions terminating at the Court of Appeal, and thereafter the Supreme Court overruling the Court of Appeal, faulting its interpretation of the law in the governorship appeal. The question on the lips of many Nigerians since then is the implications of the latest decision of the Supreme Court on the legislators who lost their seats since their cases, as stipulated in the Electoral Act and the Constitution, terminate at the Intermediate Court, which is the Court of Appeal. The sui generis nature of electoral matters has also made the court functus officio.
National Assembly and State Assembly elections, Section 246(3) of the 1999 Constitution as amended, is a constitutional provision, says any judgment of the Court of Appeal in National Assembly and State Assembly matters is final. The judgment and the case before the Supreme Court was simply gubernatorial election, not National Assembly election matters, not State Assembly election matters.
By Order 23 Rule 4 of the Court of Appeal rules, would that review be available to them? It is all this, it throws up an interesting dynamic. That is how the law grows. It says that the judgment of the Court of Appeal is one of finality, as long as it's to the merits of the matter. It cannot be reviewed except to correct clerical errors. At least the Court of Appeal on its own cannot review it. The only other access you have is to go to the appellate system, to the Supreme Court, and ask them to review the judgment of the Court of Appeal. But for purposes of election petitions matter, which is sui generis, they are terminated in the Court of Appeal. And if the Court of Appeal cannot review its own judgment, you have a quagmire.
Going forward, is there a need for the review of the Electoral Act 2022 before the next general election?
Also of the opinion that we can amend the Constitution, Section 2463, to now extend it to the Supreme Court, so that where it is perceived that the appellate court made mistakes, where such occurs, the Supreme Court can also look at it and make correction.
Yes, it's commendable. Everybody wants to go to the Supreme Court, but also think of the other side. You are going to inundate and bombard the Supreme Court with so many matters that they will not even have the time, the infrastructure, to even look as to other matters that are before them. As it is, election matters has taken 2 years. That means all commercial matters have stayed.
Legal experts contend that Nigeria has one of the best democracies in the world. All that is required is continued institutional reforms and training of personnel, including judicial officers.
Thank you, Osnaibe, with that report. Still talking about the race of the government houses, as we told you earlier, governorship aspirants under the umbrella of the People's Democratic Party are about now submitting their forms at the National Party Secretariat, Wadata House. Our correspondent is there, Timothy Yusuf. But before he comes in with his report in our subsequent bulletins, let's recall those who have picked up forms so far and their plans for their state.
This stakeholders meeting held at the national headquarters of the PDP in Abuja is to reconcile aggrieved members by the party's National Working Committee.
We've already agreed to work together as one family.
5 aspirants, female and 4 males, have so far indicated interest for the Edo State #1 seat. They, however, differ in their preparedness towards producing a consensus candidate.
My position on the matter, that I'm contesting my election. I'm contesting to be governor of Edo State, to be a candidate of PDP in Edo State. And as such, a section cannot tell me don't contest.
Though a lot of people shout zoning, zoning, zoning. You cannot go to equity without clean hands.
If there's a consensus, I will always flow with what the consensus is, what the party says.
The Congress, where a governorship candidate is expected to emerge, will be held on February 22, 2024. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives member representing Esako Federal Constituency, Anamero Dakeri, vying for the APC governorship ticket in Edo State, is urging a peaceful environment devoid of political crises in order to win back the state for the APC.
On both states, that is Edo and Ondo State, we just simply say watch this space. We couldn't quite link up with our guest international affairs analyst Paul Ejime on the ECOWAS issue, but probably try and see if we can bring him back on Friday to see, you know, what that means for, you know, the sub-region, and we'll keep on watching this space and see if ECOWAS themselves could try to resolve the issues with the three countries. That has been Political Update today. We'll be back on Friday, but between now and then, play your politics for the greater good and keep it on the Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.